The discussion about retirement differs for everyone and everyone's situation. So today I have a guest on my YouTube channel, Janet, and she and I are childhood friends. We grew up next door to each other, and we're just going to have a candid conversation. It's not scripted, about life, our thought process, the things we thought about, the things we didn't think about, and just let the conversation flow organically. So if you're at that decision of when to claim benefits, when to set your retirement date, maybe you'll see yourself in part of our discussion. And if that helps you make a decision, I'm glad. So let me bring on Janet and we'll get this conversation started.
Okay.
Okay, so today I'm joined by Janet, who I call Patty. So in case I slip up on the names, and she was on the show, what, 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah,
Yeah,
at
probably
least
about
four or
5
five
years
years
ago.
ago. So I don't know. I think we were still talking about money then, but today we're going to focus on you deciding about retirement
Right.
and where you are. So let's just start there because the last time we talked, we don't have to get into how much you saved. I don't do the numbers. That's personal.
Okay.
But where you are in the decision, are you still on your date? Have you changed it? Like, where are you now in the process of deciding when you're going to retire? And have you decided on when you're going to start taking your benefits?
Right. Well, okay. So let me say, currently I'm 62 years old. Um, I wanted to retire now. Um, so I think that I've saved enough. I still just have that fear. I did set a date of the end of next year, December of 2027. So I still will be.
Oh, you
I still
moved
won't be.
it.
No, I did not move it. I
No,
think
I
we.
know if I go back to my text messages, I'm pretty
No,
sure
I
it's
think I had
July.
said July 31st or December 31st. So,
Oh, I don't remember the December. Okay.
okay, so I don't know what my fear is, and so I'm constantly um changing the date because I think that so now my fear, I don't think it's the money. I think my fear is that I won't be 65, so now I'm going to have to pay um Social Security. I mean, I have to pay Medicare. I'm gonna have to pay for insurance for that 1 year, and so that makes me nervous. But I'm gonna do it. I'm still gonna stick. My date is still next year. It's still between July and December. I've read things though that have said that the month that you retire is really important too, and so I don't know, but
Well, the
but next
thing
year is my
about,
year.
like, I've been doing a little bit more research because actually all of this series was prompted by our conversation.
Hmm.
Because after we got off the phone that night, I was just like, I don't understand.
Right,
And
right,
I know we're in different mindsets, we're in different phases of what we want for life. That I get, but I still, like, I was just like, I don't understand. So I put, which I sent to you, our conversation in ChatGPT,
hmm,
so that, because I was like, well, maybe I'm not articulating well, and you're like, we're having two separate conversations because after you read the ChatGPT transcript, you said you had other things to think about now, which was more about your, I think I should have looked at it yesterday. When I put that in ChatGPT, it was more about your, what you've built in your 401k, your Roths, all of your
hmm.
savings
Right,
lasting you for, I think you put your life expectancy at like 90 or something like that.
right.
Okay. Yeah. So at 90, that you wouldn't outlive your savings. And I think that's what I told ChatGPT, like to brainstorm me with, which from where I sit in every scenario, because, hypothetically, $1 million is everybody's goal usually for retirement. There are a lot of YouTube channels now that are talking about 500,000 is enough, this much is enough. It really varies on what you want. But in life, everybody's goal, I think, has always been to get to 1 million. Like
Right,
that.
that's
That's
been
just,
the magic number.
it's the magic number. Just like in business, if someone asks you how much do you want to earn, everybody always says 10,000 a month. Like
R-
that just seems like the big, like the benchmark.
The lucky, okay.
Yeah, like if you look at a lot of things, people always like, oh, I just want to get to 10,000 a month. That's like a
Hmm.
big thing, or it used to be. I don't see it as much now. But the thing is, when we talk personally, I can't wrap my head around the insurance. Like I can't. Because for me, and I don't know, it could be different. Like I'm under the state plan. When I was in Nevada, like I told you, for a few years, I didn't have a premium at all.
Hmm.
Um, like first it was COVID, but then after COVID, they started charging a premium and then they just stopped.
I see.
And I'm not in the what is it called? The Affordable Care Act. I'm not in the marketplace. Like mine
Okay.
was through the state. So,
Okay.
the marketplace I think is federal. Um, and even in Georgia, like now I pay less than $70 a month. So it kind of really, I don't know what it depends on, like if you go with COBRA, yeah, COBRA's pretty expensive. Like I
Right.
did COBRA for 18 months. I think I was paying like 350 or something like that. It
Well,
was
even
still
that
cheaper than what
seems
they were taking out of my
yeah.
check, but
Well, even Cobra at 350 something, I've checked into Cobra through my job, and it's like uh, over 800.
your COBRA is over 800.
Uh-huh. If I had to pay, if I stayed on the plan, because you can stay on it like you said for 18 months. So,
Yeah.
I don't, that just seems
Well,
so.
I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on your coverage. You figure I've been gone 7 years now. I don't know if my age played a role in it or not,
Mhm.
but it would have been even less than 800 even if I had kept Morgan. But that year she
Mm,
was turning 26, so she had to, she was gonna have to come
right.
off my plan anyway. But I guess the reason I look at it, so if you retire next year at the end of 2027, you'll be getting ready to turn 64. So
Correct.
you'll still have to pay for health care for a
I know.
year. So
Right,
I
and
guess
that's what
like
makes
walk
me
me through it.
nervous. That's what makes me nervous. I'm like, but if I keep, so I was like, should I? Ideally, I think I should work till 65 because because I won't have to pay for the insurance.
But you do know that you still pay for Medicare, right? You're breaking up.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get back to the premium. Because on Medicare, I think the minimum payment is like a couple $100. I don't know because I'm only 63, so I haven't done a deep dive. And the reason I haven't done a deep dive is because I don't have any control over it. They're going to take it regardless. So
Well, right, you don't have, but yeah, you don't have any control over the amount, but you still need to know where the money's going to come from.
it's
So
going to come out of your benefits.
well, that's just it. So that's where we have a difference of opinion about taking these benefits. So that's where I was thinking I will just live off of my savings until I get ready to collect my Social Security,
Which is
which,
so are you thinking about okay, so we'll go with your scenario of you're going to work until the end of next year, and then in a couple of weeks after that, you'll turn 64. So are
correct.
you going to live on your savings for 64, 65, 66, and then you're going to claim it full retirement age?
Yes.
So what are you going to do about insurance during those 3 years? You're going to, at 65, you're going to have to pay for Medicare.
At 65, I'm going to have to pay for Medicare and I'm going to pay it out of my out of my 401k.
Okay, so I don't know. Like I looked at it briefly one day because I think the minimum is like a couple of $100, and the maximum can be up to what is it like 5 or 600?
Right. So based on you talking about for Part B?
I think I just did total, so I didn't separate. I know it's
Right.
like
So
two
so
parts.
at
Yeah,
65, Part A is going to be free, and then for the premiums for Part B, Part D, prescription coverage, that thing
yeah,
is
all of that.
approximately about let's just say I want to say at least 200. So and that's based on 2 years back. They base it on what your salary was 2 years
And you won't
ahead.
have a salary, so you're anticipating paying the lowest premium.
Yes. I will have a salary because I still have to take out of my 401k. So I'm going to try to keep that at a minimum, which will keep my premium low. You know what I'm saying?
No, because so distributions from your 401k shouldn't be considered earnings. So they're basing it on earnings, right?
Right. It will, but distribution from my 401k will be considered earnings because yeah, I'm gonna. That's gonna be a part of my adjusted gross income. because I'm going to be pulling from that, and I'm going to have to pay taxes on that.
You're gonna have to pay taxes. You are, because you didn't pay taxes.
Right.
But so I don't really want, all of this is for illustrative purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We're
Yeah,
just kind of
absolutely.
discussing it.
We're
So I
just
have to put
guessing.
my disclaimer, because
Right.
so what I was going to say, as opposed to your 401k in those years, if you have a Roth you pull out with, you don't have to pay taxes and stuff on that. So
Right.
have you compared the two versus pulling out from your 401k versus taking distributions from your Roth? Because I mean, I know you personally, so I'm pretty sure your Roth is past 5 years.
It is not, because
But it
my
will be by the time you start doing this, right?
it will be. Right. So my company, right. So my company didn't have Roth, and then when we merged, they started the Roth. So I've only been in the Roth for about 2 years. So,
Oh, so
but
you didn't do it
three.
personally. You're going through your employer?
Yes.
Oh, see, like my Roth is,
Through like Fidelity or somewhere like that.
well, no, I did it myself. So it's at Fidelity now, but it used to be E-Trade, and E-Trade was somebody else back in the
Mm-hmm.
day. I can't remember who they were, but it's past it's way past the 5 years.
Right.
So when I had
So
to
my
start,
question about that though, because I do have a decent amount in the Roth that I could pull out, like you said, by the time I reach the time that I would be retiring. Um, but I thought that, the goal. Well, I read something recently that the goal is not to have see how much you can have in your Roth. It's, because I was going to start doing some conversions from my traditional to my Roth. But I read something that said you really shouldn't be that concerned on building this Roth as you are on spending down some of the money that you have in your traditional.
well, the
Do you
thing
agree?
I can't say because I don't know the specifics, because I didn't even know employers, if it was a Roth. There used to be a Roth 401k that I thought for
That's what I have.
solopreneurs. Yeah, for solopreneurs they discontinued it. So I don't, because
Okay.
I looked at opening one for my business and it's no longer around. Like about a year or two ago, I looked into it. But
Okay.
just a regular Roth, like it's after tax dollars. So
Right.
when you pull it out, you've already paid taxes on it. So
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like I would check into, there's probably some calculator or some type of tool out there that would compare you withdrawing from your 401k, which you've never paid taxes on. So you are going to pay taxes on that money versus pulling it out of a Roth,
I
which has
agree.
already been taxed.
Right. But
So I would
why
do,
not pull it out of your traditional while the tax rate is still lower? Like, we don't know what the tax rate is going to be, say, in retirement in 5 years, but it could be
but you've
higher.
already paid taxes. That's what I'm saying. So you don't have to, why are you concerned with the
Right.
tax rate?
I'm concerned with the tax rate because if I pulled it from my traditional.
No, but I'm saying like do a scenario, pull it from your traditional IRA, I'm assuming you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
versus your 401k, because both of those are more than likely pre-tax. Like you've never paid taxes on, you took a on your
Right.
IRA or your, but your Roth you've already paid taxes.
Right.
So I would actually, you know,
I
one of
think
these
I
sites.
and I understand what you're saying. I think that that's another fear. Like I've built, I'm trying.
Well,
All
so
right.
so let's just pause there because I want to take a look at this article that you wrote for my
Right.
magazine. So because you've mentioned fear, I didn't keep count, but it's more than once in this
Right.
conversation.
Right. Right.
So I think we've been talking finances, I don't know, we'll say 10 years. I don't really know how long. And that always comes up in almost every conversation. So
Yes.
I think your biggest hurdle, and I thought this the night that we talked for at least an hour or two about this insurance premium, that it's not the premium. You still have some fear around the money, whatever it
Exactly.
is. I'm
I
not a
agree.
psychiatrist, so I have no idea.
You're right.
But I think that's the biggest hurdle. It's not even if you decided to work until 67, because our full retirement age is 67. Even
Correct.
if you decided to work until you were 67, if you don't figure out what it is about the fear of the money, I think you'll probably still have some
The
type of
same reservation.
hesitation.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
it'll still be there because you haven't really addressed what it is. Because, like I said, since our
Well, I think I
conversation,
have. I think I have addressed what it is. I just don't know how to solve it.
What do you
I
think it is? I must have missed it. What did you think it
right.
was?
Well, I think it's running out. It's my fear is running out of money, not having
Yeah, but you
enough
said
to
you weren't
survive.
afraid of my running out of
I
money.
but I still am. I mean, it sounds like a nice
I know
little
you
line
are.
in the
That's
article, but I
wait a minute. When you pointed out that I had forgotten
am.
when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I still have that. So I went and pulled it out and I
Okay.
read it. And when I read it, I kind of did like that, like, okay,
Right. This
because
is still true.
we've talked since then, and I was like, no, she still has a fear around running out of money.
I
And I
do.
mean, I think just because I do know your personal situation, I think you could live past 90 and still have enough. Because once you reach full retirement age, which is, I don't know if you've decided to actually do your photography. Like I know I haven't really seen you posting lately. Are you
Yeah,
still
I
doing
haven't
the
posted, but I
photography?
am still doing. I still do it. I just don't post as much.
So you're still earning income from it as a side
Yes,
hustle?
absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean you figure this year it doesn't apply to you. It's 24,480. So that's like an extra 2 grand a month on top of what Social Security pays you. That
Right.
that you could do. But once you reach, excuse me, the year you turn full retirement age, that year, I don't really know how it works with you because the mine's is so late in the year. Like I did it the other day. They calculate it up until the month before you reach full retirement age. So I don't know if that's your year of 66. You should Google it. Like I said, mine's is in November. So they would calculate in your full retirement, you can make up to 65,000 plus. It's 65,100, 200. I don't remember what it is, but it's like
Okay.
65,000 that year. It's no longer the 20 something. The year you turn full retirement, you can make up to 65 grand. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have other ways that you could actually cover this $200 premium.
You didn't have to put that in quotes like that.
Well,
I think
because
I understood.
you say, I know 200, that's 200, whatever is the lowest premium, but it can
Right.
go up to like several $100,
Right.
whatever the formula is that they're. I said, for me, I know it'll be the lower end. So I haven't concerned myself because
But
when I,
let me just ask you real quick, did you have any regrets? I know you don't now because you seem pretty comfortable with the decision and you're used to it, but did you have any regrets initially when you like when you first because you said you started collecting at 62? Did you start thinking,
oh, I
man, this
filed, so I turned 62, what, November 2024? Is
okay.
that what yeah, November 2024. I filed in September because you can
Really?
file, yeah, you can file,
4 months
like I said,
before
I don't
something,
remember all
yeah.
the details now. You can file so many months before your birthday.
Right.
So once I decided that year, because like, you've seen the videos, like my income in my business had just pretty much, it had fallen off. Like,
Okay.
it was not supporting me. And so I needed something. And I was like, okay, I'm 62 this year. And so I Googled, like, what's the earliest you can file?
Mhm.
And we'll just say 3 months because I don't remember. And it was
Mhm.
like, so I filed, but like it's the month after. So I think my first check came in January because they lag. It's like a month
Right.
behind. So it was either January or February. But I've never regretted it. What One, I try not to live with regrets. Like once I make my decision, I've made
That's
it.
it.
But the thing is,
But did you ever at any time say this is going to be my permanent amount?
because it's not going to be my permanent amount, because I think that's where we differ. Like, because once my business, because it will get back on track to what it
Mhm.
was, like I've decided that. So what is it from the 10 commandments? Like the guy used to always say, the guy who went up against Moses, the Pharaoh, so let it be written or whatever. Like I have written it down, I have claimed it, I am speaking it into an existence. So my
Right.
benefits will be paused because at a certain point they do $1
Wait,
for
what do
every
you
two.
mean pause? It's just going to oh because you'll be making too much with your
I'll be
benefit.
making too much money.
Which
And so
okay.
first they'll just, you have to report it, I guess, like they'll just reduce or whatever it is, the formula one for every $2 earned. But at a certain point, um, it'll it'll exceed what they allow. But I thought that money was permanently lost. Like based on what everybody used to say about, oh, claiming here like you were going to lose that money. No, when you get to full retirement age for all the months that they paused it, they
Hmm.
recalculate. So they increase your benefits.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's not a concern of mine because I'm a person like
Did you understand that when you did it?
I did not.
Okay.
Like I found out a little while later because I kind of operate from the things are what they are. It is what it is. And in the moment, I needed a bridge. Like I had to bridge the gap between what I had and what I needed. And Social Security was sitting there. And it's my money. Like I paid into the system. It's
Hmm.
mine. And in 2030 or 2035, whenever it is, I see different dates. They're going to reduce benefits because the system is flawed. And that's another thing. Like, I don't even know that it'll be around. Let's say I live into 90. Will it even still be here? Like, we were supporting our parents, like when we were paying into it. Like, the system is just,
Hmm.
it's screwed up, in my opinion. But in any event, I found that out probably like last year, early this year, that those benefits aren't lost. Like they recalculate. So whatever you pause for, they average it and they increase your benefits by that amount. So when you reach full retirement, and then at full retirement age, it's no longer a concern what you make. You can make whatever you want and collect Social Security. Like
Hmm.
once you reach, like I said,
Right.
my
I
age
did
is
know that.
67.
Okay.
Yeah, my full retirement, I think it changes. Like I'm born in 62, you're born in 64, you're probably in my bucket. But
Hmm.
like, my sister, born in 59, her full retirement age was like 66 and 9 or 10 months. Like it
Right.
changes. I don't know if we're the last, like for me, I only concern myself with me, and I know mine's is 67. So
Right.
it's
And so
once
it's
I
mine.
reach, I mean, this year I'll be 64. So I really only have to bridge the gap for 3 more years to worry about this earning limitation. And then I can earn whatever I want. But
Okay.
if I make the type of money I want to make in my business, I'm not concerned with Social Security. I never
Right.
even originally, when I planned to retire, I never factored it in because I always thought the system was flawed and would it even be around? This is like in my 30s and 40s.
Okay.
Um, would it even be around when I got ready to retire? That's what I thought
Did
of the
you
system.
actually were thinking about, like, I never, it was never even a consideration. So I didn't even know what that really was. Social Security in my 30s. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna put money in my 401k, and that's what. So you're right. I didn't factor that in because it never occurred to me. Our parents
Okay,
lived
so
off
so
of
now
Social
you
Security.
really making my head spin.
I know.
So
I'm making my head spin too just by saying that. It never
yeah,
was even
because
a
if you didn't
factor.
factor it in,
I did not.
when you withdraw or when you claim shouldn't even
Or
be.
that I even knew what it was. It's just like, okay, somebody's gonna give me some money. Probably when I hit in my 40s, I start. But it was never even a factor. I get what you're saying. So then, if that was never even a factor and you knew nothing about it, then why is it a concern now that you do?
Not only is it concern, why is it a barrier to you leaving?
I
Because
agree.
it is like at the front door blocking you
It
from
really is.
walking out of the house. So if you, like I said, because somebody else asked me this recently and I was like, well, I never thought, I said, I never factored it in because I wasn't even sure it would still be around. So I didn't put it into my plans. But when I needed it, because that's kind of how I run my life, like if I need something in the moment, I need it now. And
Right.
I will say, like, I don't live with regret, but I was telling somebody the other day, when I made some decisions, I didn't take future Sherry into as much consideration as I should have.
Hmm.
Because I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants, but I do concern myself with now because now is all I have and now is all that I can control. But I
Right.
should have given future Sherry more consideration. And I don't know if you watched the Mike interview. When I left corporate Merrill Lynch, which was, very structured and, the 401ks and everything, I went to smaller companies. And kind of like your article, as a single parent, I wasn't always disciplined enough when I went to the smaller companies to set aside the money for myself because I would have had to just have it taken directly out of my check. Once it hit my check, now I'm living on it.
Mm-hmm.
So at Merrill Lynch, they were very, I had three different accounts, three different buckets, two for my girls, one for me, plus their plan. And, but then what, maybe 15, 20 years of my career, I worked for companies, no, probably more like 15. I worked for companies that didn't provide that. So now it's left to me to save on my own, which
Mm-hmm.
depending on life circumstances, how disciplined you are, and blah, 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 that worked against me. And then we got bought out by a somewhat larger company, which was back to the structure. They had profit sharing, all of this. And then I got back to saving again, which is what I used when I left in 2019. Right after I left, the pandemic hit.
I see.
So like, what, 6 months, 6 or 7 months after I left. So it kind of, I kind of, my thing is being with the curves. No, I could not have predicted that would happen. I had my best quarter of my business right before that happened. Like I'm thinking I'm just going to keep building. And then this happens and I'm like, okay, holy shit, like now what?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to deal with what is. And then the following, like 2 years later, I took a contract for a year. But the thing about that, it kind of takes the focus off of it splits my time. So I'm
Got it.
not really an entrepreneur, which is what I want to do, is to build my own. Now I'm back building somebody else's. So this time I just decided to write it out. Like it is what it is. If I really want this to be what I want it to be, I have to give it my full attention, which is
I
what I
agree.
did in 2019 when the business blew up. That was
Mm-hmm.
all I was working on, was my business. I gave it my
Okay.
attention and the results show. But after that, I'm always splitting my time, like, trying to earn income, trying to do this, and I was like, no, you just gonna have to bite the bullet, suck it up,
Okay.
and do what you do. And Social Security became a part of that plan. Like, the plan right now.
I
It's like,
see.
okay, Social Security will bring this in. That gives you, a little bit of a foundation, cut back. I don't live an extravagant lifestyle, and I haven't been able to travel, but
Right,
it's
and that's what I want
very.
to do. That's like what I want to do in retirement. I want to be able to travel, like I do now. But let me ask you this one thing. Since we're going back to the Social Security, would you have since I didn't know anything about it, then so why not? And I wasn't anticipating it. I was only working on my what I have in my 401k. Then why not just wait till full retirement age if I didn't need it anyway? Why take it now? Is your only reason for doing that because you don't know if it's going to be around?
Well, one of the reasons because I don't know if it's going to be around, and two, unlike you, I needed it. Like you
Hmm.
don't need it. Like I
Right.
needed it to bridge the gap, because between when I turned 62 and when my business really started to fall off, which was like probably late 2020, maybe early 2021, where the income really just was unstable,
Hmm.
I started living off my retirement then. Like I had bills to pay.
Right. I understand.
So, you know, I
Well,
wasn't.
I will say, yeah, this conversation has definitely got me thinking. All of our conversations get me thinking for a minute until I go back. But I think the fact that um, it just brought more attention to the fact that I wasn't even looking for it
You weren't looking for it. It wasn't a part of your plan.
at all.
And I said, that's why I said it's making my head spin, because you went from it not even being a part of your plan to
To
it's
now
almost
that
like
being a major,
it's
yeah,
a major part of your plan. And because you didn't think it, you didn't you didn't realize it, whatever, it wasn't a part of your plan, you've more than adequately prepared for
yes,
retirement.
I
So to
agree.
me, it's like I said in my video the other day, for some people I kind of fall in, it's a necessity. Like,
Hmm.
I need it right now. Whereas you, it's almost a bonus.
Yes,
And you have a plan B that could become your plan A of your photography business, which
yeah,
at one point you were, like I said, you're not posting anymore, so I don't know how many shoots you're doing. At one point I thought you were making like a, nice side hustle income from it.
yeah, easily. I still do.
Yeah. So, like I said, if you take what your benefits would be, because we've discussed what they would be, and
Hmm.
then you're allowed $2,000 before they even start to touch your benefits, and you'd have to pull in the tax formula to see where you fall in that, because you do have to pay. I think I sent you that article. If you
Hmm.
earn so much over, they do have a formula where
Right.
some of it becomes taxable. You'd have to look at all of that. And
Or
next
I could just pull from my Roth and not even have to worry about that.
Well, see, we talked about this, and then I know you threw in that guy, Mr. Ramsey into the conversation. Like for me, we're down to two. Like I told you the other day, you have to do compounding is how people make their money. And
Right.
so that's why the difference of you starting to save in your 20s, 30s, 50s, it makes a difference because the longer the money's invested, the more it can compound. So the thing about when you start talking about pulling the money out versus actually taking the Social Security, which one has the most long-term effect? Is it the compound interest you're losing on, this is a hypothetical, I'm throwing a number out, the
Hmm.
50,000 that you're going to have to pull out? What
Hmm.
would that 50,000 have grown to if you had
Right.
left it there
And
versus
use Social Security
and you
instead.
live on the Social Security?
I
And
understand.
everybody, it's not a cookie cutter because when you text me that he said that, like at one point I told you that, but then I was like, no, based on what you have invested, your situation is probably better if you actually lived on the Social Security and left your investments intact because they've been in there so long, depending on what you invested in. That I don't know.
Right.
But everybody, the thing about when gurus say that, they're almost making it like a blanket statement, like people's finances are cookie cutter, and they're not. Everybody's thing is unique. So you have to look at your tax situation, what you need to live on. Like it has to be based on your circumstances to really know
Mhm.
what's good for you.
I
Because we're
understand.
talking, it might cut off in a minute. We're talking like, because what was good for me, it wouldn't have worked for you. Because I think you would have stressed over my decision.
I would
Like,
have. Yeah.
yeah. And for me, it's like, okay, I need to do this.
Yeah,
I
you're
gotta
right.
do
Your
it.
thinking was I need the money, and so that's the only option.
Because
Yeah.
I actually did look for a job. The universe worked
you,
it
you
out for me
actually
that I
looked
didn't
at
find one. Well, I take that back. I found one I worked for a month and I was just like, yeah, I am
that.
not here.
No. Okay.
Well, because I was past the corporate BS stuff, the way, the
Mhm.
backstabbing and all that. I
Yeah.
told the lady, like, I'm too old for this. Okay, so on that note, we're going to wrap up this conversation. So, what do you think your biggest takeaway was from our discussion?
Well, I came in with a fear that I've had for at least 10 years. And so in talking to you, it brought up the fact that, which I had never considered, that I was never even thinking about Social Security when I started saving 30 years ago. I just wasn't. I didn't, although my parents, um, my mother collected Social Security, it never was a factor. So in that, the takeaway is that since I wasn't expecting it anyway, why is it such a big deal? Why is it so important now? And so that puts a different light. So it's possible my date is going to move up even further. That's for sure.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say, and then we really would wrap this up, is that's kind of what my video was about last week. Is that when we started thinking about retirement, not Social Security, just when we would retire, leave our job. Because
Right.
I don't, in my 30s, I was thinking about entrepreneurship. I don't know if you were, but
I
the
was not.
video was about what our 30-year-old self planned for when we were 60. More than likely, fast forward to now that we're in our 60s, it's not the same vision. Like it
Not
was
at all.
decades ago. And so that was the video the other day. It's like, so with each decade, I can actually see myself like turning into a different version of me because the things that I wanted from life changed and my perspective changed. So even when I thought about retirement, like I said, I didn't factor Social Security in. And then I get to my 60s and I actually need it. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of the opposite of you. Like I didn't factor it in, but I need it. You didn't factor it in. And personally, I mean, it's your decision to make. Personally, I think you could get by without it because you
I
didn't
agree.
plan for it, so you don't really need it. Like it was never a part of your retirement budget, and
I
you
agree.
planned accordingly. Like
Right.
you based your savings on, all of your retirement planning was based on how much would you need. So you set up your 401k, your traditional IRA, your Roth IRA. You set up all the things that you would need to live in these years. You didn't factor in the Social Security. So for you, it's somewhat a bonus. I don't think it's a necessity. But like I said, this is my perspective on your life. But I don't think,
Thank you.
I think it's more of a bonus than it is a necessity.
It
Whether you
is.
factor in the insurance premium or not, because regardless whether it's Medicare or anything, you will have an insurance premium when you leave corporate.
Yes.
I mean, so it just changes whether or not it's Medicare or a private policy. You're still going to have it. But it was a good discussion because you saw my head spin when you said
I
I didn't even
thought
know about it.
I did. And as I was saying that, I hated to say that. Like, why didn't you know about it? But I didn't. I know that, when you're younger, you think people retire, and that I don't know where I thought their money was coming from. It never even occurred to me. And even when I did start working, my view in my 20s and 30s was retirement because I'm just going to travel. I hadn't figured out all the specifics about it, but I was just going to retire some kind of way. I figured I was going to be working somewhere and I was going to use some money and travel.
Well, I think because back then that was the thing. Like I told people, we were kind of, most of us in that generation were raised to graduate high school, go to college, get a job, work for 40, 50 years, get your watch, and you retire. And then what you
Not
do
the
with those
watch.
years, because most people, like my mother was the same way, she didn't think she'd have enough to keep herself occupied during those years. I think that was a lot of people. It's like, then I stop working. What am I going to do? And I tell people, I have never had any problem trying to keep myself occupied.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll wrap up there. It was a good discussion. So I'm glad, my tool will be out in probably a couple of weeks. You should take a look at it because it basically allows you to put in different scenarios. It allows you to it takes into account the taxes. If you make more than you're supposed to beyond the 24,000, how much they'll reduce it, whether it's better for you to tap into your savings or delay your savings or take the Social Security. It's different scenarios. So you can kind of, a simulator of what you should do. It does not tell you when to retire. It just gives you kind of a blueprint of each scenario. And
Right.
then figure
Okay.
out which one works best.
All right. I'll take a look at that. But
Yeah, it should be like maybe 2 weeks. I'm testing it to make sure it's not any kinks in it.
all right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye. So overall, I thought that conversation went well because, as you can see, I had a couple of aha moments about her story, and more importantly, the conversation and the dialogue, because we allowed it to just flow, it gave her other things to think about while she's deciding on when she's not only going to retire her last day, but will she actually take the retirement benefits when she leaves corporate America, or will she delay it to full retirement age? And that's what this is all about. It's not trying to make a hard decision based on the things I'm saying or the things the other gurus are saying. It's about taking a look at your situation and figuring out what works best for you and then moving forward accordingly, because my journey is just that, it's my journey. And while maybe she can use that for inspiration or to pick my brain about things, ultimately her life choices will be her life choices, because we all have to live, we're the only ones that have to live with our choice. So I think the fact that she gained some additional insight that she hadn't thought about before our conversation, that at the end of the day is what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.